was off the pitot tubes. They give you speed and give you altitude too. So anyhow, and I checked all them, and we get up that morning and we're going to England. Climbed aboard and took off. We were just gun fodder, you know.
So you left from Kearney?
What?
You left from Nebraska?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's from Kearney.
Okay.
Flew from Kearney to Bangor, Maine.
Okay.
And from Bangor, Maine to Scotland.
Really? Wow, that's a heck of a distance.
You were in Bangor?
Who?
Bangor, Maine? You flew,
That's what he said.
Yep.
You flew from Kearney to Bangor, Maine,
yeah.
and from Bangor, Maine to Scotland. You didn't have to stop in Iceland?
Well, that's what that became, Iceland stop.
Okay.
And then from Scotland, then to...
And then from there to a little village in England. And we landed, and they told us to take any possessions that you wanted. Take them now. And we cleaned out the plane and said goodbye to it.
And then they sent you to Northampton?
Pardon?
And then did they send you to your base then?
Yeah.
So when did you land, when did you get to England? Was that in January?
No. They got married
April.
May 24th.
Oh, okay.
So it had to be between May 24th and June 27th when they flew that
The
first mission.
So they just...
Well, were you still in Nebraska when he shipped out?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay. What's your story? Because you have a story about that, remember?
Well, they wanted to fly me over. And I said, no way, Jose. Well, I didn't want to get stranded in another country, you know, with no wherewithal, no information. I'm chicken. So
No money?
What?
You probably didn't have much money.
Well, that's what you were for.
Well, it would be the wrong money anyhow. If you're in England, you need English money. So no, I didn't go.
Okay, so how long did you hang around after you got married?
I think 6 days.
All right, so
All
maybe
told,
Memorial Day-ish.
6 days, yeah,
Okay.
right. And then I came home. And I don't remember the trip home. I remember the trip going down to be with him. And it wasn't Kearney, Nebraska. It was
Alexandria, Louisiana.
Alexandria, Louisiana. I got down there, and you had to be 21 to get married without your parents' consent. I was 18, and that wasn't going to happen back in those days. See, now it's nothing.
Right.
But back in those days, it was a really big deal. So
I think it's funny they were going to stow you away on this bomber.
Yeah.
well,
That's crazy.
Oh my!
and all of the guys thought that was a real good idea.
The whole crew, they're just like, let's do this.
Came up with the idea. Let's take Mary with us.
And was George for that? Being a military guy, was he going to do it too?
Well, I didn't want it, but then
I balked.
you thought more about it.
I didn't have to think about it at all. They offered that opportunity to me, and I said no.
I imagine it was pretty cold on the plane flying from Bangor, Maine to England.
Was it cold?
Was it cold?
Yeah, it's cold.
Oh, well, you guys had
The
clothing,
sheepskin.
leather clothing with the fuzzy stuff on the inside and heaters.
Sheepskin.
You know,
No,
so
we
that,
didn't have those.
You didn't have the heaters?
Huh?
The electric heaters?
I didn't. We didn't have a heated suit. No. I had a heated suit. That's part of the story. I get off the plane, you know, and the plane crashes and blah blah blah. So I've got an officer's green uniform on because that's what they had in the electric. They wanted me to try out this new electric suit. And I put that on and flew overseas. And other soldiers didn't know what kind of uniform it was.
Oh, so they're saluting you?
They thought I was an officer. So, when I told them who I were and identified myself, so on, then
Was that the Germans? They didn't know what you were?
who? Oh, I always said who had been Germany.
You'd have gotten sent to a different camp, maybe.
tell about that. Tell about the Germans.
Which German?
Well, you were captured. You became a prisoner of war, and you came before a Nazi.
Oh, I was at an interrogation.
Mm.
This guy has a legal pad, the big yellow one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then they'd get me to talk, and then he'd right. In German. I couldn't read it. And then I'm sitting there with him, and he says, sign. I'm not signing that. I said, well, because you got all those untruths. I didn't divulge any information, and I don't plan to get blamed for it. So he takes out his ivory-handled revolver, sticks it here on my forehead like this, and he says, are you going to sign or do I turn you over to the Gestapo? Oh. Well, that's not good. The Gestapo, they kick you first and then.
Mm.
So, there's a hullabaloo out in the hall. Everybody's shouting and hooray and yay. And I went out there and I peeked out there and then, what's going on? We've just been told that we're done with our interrogation. Very good. I got line.
Wow.
And that's a second escape, actually. So I went with them. I went to they had an old razor blade that had shaved about 50 guys.
Oh.
Boy, it just tore hair out. So, and I got a good hot shower and all dressed up. They never did come looking for me.
Hmm.
They never did find me, but they didn't know me. Because I had grown a kind of a beard.
Red.
Red beard.
Mm-hmm.
At what point was this?
Huh?
At what point? When?
This is after we rode a tutu train from Frankfurt to this interrogation.
Okay, so like July 9th or 10th.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
And then I just stayed with that group.
But what I
You
wanted
can't lose when you're.
what I wanted you to tell him was how much information they had. He told you about how many people were in your family.
Oh, yeah. When I sat down for my thing, he says, "Oh, I see here your father just passed away." Yeah. And your mother is Floss, and he went on describing our family and how many brothers and sisters. He had all that information. Where he got it, I don't know. But we think. I lived in a little village of Detroit that was called Redford.
Mm-hmm.
And Redford had kind of a name for itself in that,
There's a lot of Germans there.
yeah, and they had all this military, and they were putting it in the little chicken door
News. A paper.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So they identified all of the service members that were going over.
Now, how, at this point, the war's been going on, how much manpower did they devote to collecting information, that much finite information in the United States? I mean, that's really scary.
Yeah, they had really good intelligence.
You know, just really scary because they had stuff that is inconsequential, actually, but they amassed a dossier.
I think they could have told me what I had on my report card.
Well, some in the research that I've done, that case is not abnormal. That was very normal. Like they would have, oh, you had this. Your first grade teacher was Mrs. Palmer, and they would have that much information.
Wow.
And yeah, spooky. So what you just said collaborates with many other stories. Is their intelligence was extremely exquisite. In fact, what they would do is they would actually take German operatives, they would fly them over the small towns dressed as Americans. They would jump out and parachute, and then they would be captured by the French underground. And thinking that they had captured Americans, you've got very fluent English-speaking Germans, and their job was to infiltrate the network, and then they would take out a whole group of French underground because they were masquerading as Americans. And so it was very interesting what had happened.
And that was scare policy.
Yeah.
Because when they get a guy down and got his wallet, they've got his money, they've got everything from him,
Mm-hmm.
and then they hit him with this. When you graduate from high school, what you're going to do and what you did for work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that really blew their mind. What'd you do?
Let me see if I can put some of
I
these
worked in
other
the
pictures
aircraft.
up.